Happy Saturday. I don't think there's anybody here yet, and I didn't think I was going to get to do this, but the stars have aligned, the moons, the planets, everything came together to bring you some Saturday live goodness. I don't see anybody hopping in here yet. We've been live for about 15 seconds. It'll take a little bit. But so I didn't think I was going to get to do the live stream today, and I'll probably repeat this information, but didn't think I was going to get to do this today because of our hot water incident. And somebody corrected me in the video earlier about it being a hot water heater. It's just a water heater because hot water doesn't have to be heated, and that does make me laugh. If you're just coming on in, smash that like button, give us a thumbs up. I see 11 of you in there. Hello, welcome to everybody. And so the fight today was, that water heater, and water heater won yesterday. But today, maintenance people won, water heaters 0. And so now every faucet, everything that has hot water is currently running to flush the lines out. So hoping to return everything to normal, and then got a little bit of a mess to clean up, get things mopped up and all that. So we'll handle that a little bit later. So, hey, John, so somebody wanted me to... Smarter Money says it's foggy in Cincinnati. Hope you're eating some of that good Cincinnati chili on a what could be, I don't know how warm it is in Cincinnati, but it could be cold, it could be chilly. It's chilly weather here in Peoria. But hey, South Africa. So the big ass VPN. So the big ass VPN, what I've got over my shoulder right here. So this is an Edge Router 4. This is my daily driver at the moment. Now, this is also, if you watch the Synology, the perfect parental controls. Now, I know some people were saying Google and this and that and the other, but there is a mobile app for this, so you can configure this on the go, and I'm going to go over that in the next video about this. I've got another video that I'm putting together tonight for Austin for templates and stuff on the Grandstream phone system, so that I'm going to film that a little later and get that out. And then there's going to be some stuff that goes to my patrons on the Patreon channel. That's going to go a little bit later this weekend. But so the big ass VPN, what it is we want to push this Edge Router 4. Now I can tell you from an Edge Router Pro perspective, I've got an Edge Router Pro out there that has about 60 site-to-site VPNs connected to it, and it does good. It doesn't fail, and everything works. What we want to do is we want to take this Edge Router 4. We want to connect as many site-to-site VPNs, IPsec VPNs. The link to the form is down below if you want to participate. Now, here's the deal. Some people have been asking, can I get in on the big-ass VPN if I don't have an Edge Router? The answer to that is yes. You can get in on the project if you don't have an Edge Router. I will give you the settings. So I'm collecting all these responses. I kind of went about it the wrong way last time, and took the information on the contact forms, and that was kind of a backwards way to do it because it made managing the data a mess, right? So now I've got an actual form that feeds into a spreadsheet, so I can take that information, and of course I'll have to contact people and say, hey, look, your subnet overlaps and stuff like that. So we'll have to get all that straightened out. Hey, Keith, it's almost time to start drinking whiskey here. But if you like whiskey, give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up for whiskey, especially with Keith. Keith's got the good stuff over there, the Jameson. But so what we're going to do is we are going to push this Edge Router. I want to see how many VPNs this thing will handle simultaneously. I'm going to have a small network with a web server, and I think Tim might be coming up with some sort of a game to put on there. Yeah, I've heard that there's some stuff, Keith, that you can only get at the Jameson factory, and I can't remember what the lady called it, but she's like, flights are cheap, go get some. I don't know, it was Black Label or Special Reserve or something like that. But so we're going to see how many site-to-site VPNs we can put on this Edge Router 4. And then what I'd like to do is start meshing them. I'd really like to see where this thing could max out. So my guess is that and this, I don't know anything definitive about this, right? I'm literally just guessing. We're running this as an experiment on purpose. And I think I'm going to have to say that once we hit 100 VPNs, site-to-site VPNs, that this thing is just going to, it's not going to perform well. That's my guess. But I don't know. And that's why we are doing this. I mean, everybody always asks about the speed, about all that, but nobody's actually really doing any testing. And some of you that are signing up, you have gigabit. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to see what kind of a throughput we can get. It's, you know, and here's the thing, right? I can simulate the internet easily in the lab, easily. You've seen me do it. And I can put a couple edge routers together, right? And I could show you what I'm getting in the lab. But that's not what's going to happen when you put these routers out on your real networks. I want to show what happens in the wild, because I can give you all of these vacuum results and they're bull. They don't mean anything, right? They give you this benchmark that's probably never attainable, right? This is perfect world vacuum stuff that we're talking about. Because when you're doing a real site-to-site VPN, you're not going to have a 2-foot cable between the routers. You might have 1 hop or 2 hops, but in all reality, you're going to be several hops, several different interconnects, several different places, you know, you're going to have to route through to get to the other side. So showing it in a lab, yeah, it's cool, but it's not real world stuff. It's not how things work, right? So we want to represent what's going to happen when you get your hands on this and you deploy it, you know, so for the VPNs and then for the speed test over the VPNs. And there's a lot of different ways to test devices, and we can do all these different tests, but until you see it in the wild, it's not going to really mean much, because I could set this bar for this test so high that when you buy this, you're going to be like, man, this thing is a piece of junk. It doesn't work properly. When it's really, it may not be the equipment. It could be your internet connection. It could be a hop in between. There's all kinds of things that happen in the real world outside of the lab. And that's what we want to talk about. Somebody asked what my consulting rates are. If you go to my website, my consulting rates are on the support page. David Allen asks, how well does the edge router handle multiple networks on one router? It handles them beautifully. Right now, I think I've got 4 VPNs or 4 VLANs set up, and everything's working fine. I have Edge Router Pros that have dozens of networks behind them, and they work fine. All right. Hey, Brazil. Yeah, David Allen, I've not seen anybody do this kind of testing, whether it's with Cisco, whether it's with Juniper, whether it's with Palo Alto, pfSense. I've never seen anybody reach out to, you know, people on the internet en masse and say, hey, I don't know you, but let's create a VPN connection and test this stuff in the real world. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And we'll publish those results. And if the results don't work out either way, we should we're going to provide the results to Ubiquiti. And whatever they do with the results, that's what they're going to do. So theoretically, how many connections is the Edge Router ER4 supposed to handle? Don't know. I've never seen a limit in writing. Now, I'm sure that there's a software engineer that could tell me based on the hardware that's in this, you know, what it's supposed to do. But what is it really supposed to do? I don't know. I've not seen it. So Soft Ether, somebody just brought up, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. Sven. Yes, I have looked at Soft Ether. If you don't know what Soft Ether is, it is an open source VPN platform. And I believe that it is maintained by a university, maybe in China. Trying to remember if that's right, but it's got all kinds of options for connecting. SSL VPN, IPsec, OpenVPN. I think you can do web forwarding and stuff like that. So right now, I will tell you one of my favorite VPNs is the Barracuda SSL VPN appliance. Now, they've effectively end of lifed the appliance. As Sven says, it's in Japan. So yeah, but what it does is I think they're using Nginx on the back end, but what I can do is I can create these things called web forwards. And if you don't know about the Barracuda VPN, there used to be an open source SSL VPN project, and Barracuda bought the project and rolled that into their VPN and took all these awesome features. And one of those is the ability to create these web forwards, which is really just a reverse proxy using, a web server that's inside the box. So what we mean by like a reverse proxy. Okay. So a reverse proxy, let's pretend that this notebook is my VPN server. And this is the, this side, which is where I've got the writing, faces the internet. This is real world stuff happening out here, right? So this is my single IP address for the external side of this box. Then over here, I've got all this stuff. I've got all these networks and everything happening behind here. Well, I've got web servers, or let's say I've got an intranet server, or some sort of an internal resource that I don't want exposed completely to the internet, but I want my employees to be able to get to it. So what you can do with these web forwards or these reverse proxies is you can set it up so that the outside traffic hits this, I don't know what that was. This authenticates the user. In our case, the way we use it is active. And then what happens is this acts as that, that connection broker, right? So this has a virtual interface on it that connects to this out here. And then it goes and allows us to pull those internal resources. It's really awesome. It's really neat. Especially, let's be real. Even though it's 2018, there are all kinds of companies that have to run legacy applications for some reason that don't necessarily meet the security standards, but we know that they can't be on the public-facing internet. This is perfect for that, because I can still use authentication, my Active Directory authentication on the firewall to pull those resources internally, right? So I hit this guy, I've got to authenticate. This guy goes to my Active Directory server, says, is Willie Howe an authorized user? Active Directory says, yes, Willie Howe is an authorized user. He's in the proper group. Let him have access to the resource. So it's another layer. You could even use it internally. So you could have a DMZ, right, that this SSL VPN sits in front of with all the servers behind it, and everything goes through there. So, hey, James is wrapping up a Grandstream gig for us for a Florida of ours, a customer of ours in Florida. They're going to cut over tomorrow, I believe, or today, and re-record their greetings on Monday. This is part of the process of taking out a UCM 6100 series appliance, putting a 6200 series appliance in. And so if you run into a UCM 6100 series that has a really old version of the firmware on it, you're going to get to this point in the firmware where it says by upgrading the firmware, it's going to wipe out the configuration. So what we decided to do is take the high road, and James spent a little time, because I will tell you it would cost the customer more if that configuration got wiped out. And there's all kinds of variables that could really screw the pooch on that. So it actually took us, less time to have James log in and one-to-one the settings, and then just have them record their prompts and everything again. And I think we're just at a couple hours for that. So it's really good. James and we also bid on a 190 handset deployment for a school district that has 5 different buildings. So we're hoping to get that. We're working on an international dog food company. We've got some really good stuff going with Grandstream out there. And if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you'll see that I've been tagged the last couple days in a project, and that's why I'm doing the videos. We're going to do a video tonight on the templates using the UCM. So, James, I hope everything's well with you. Tell your wife I said hi, and I know you're out this weekend, so thanks for everything you do. David Allen says, we're going from 8x8 to 3CX. So far, 3CX is amazing given the cost. Wish it worked with Grandstream phones. So 3CX should work with Grandstream phones because 3CX and Grandstream, I believe, are partners. So you may want to check on that. John asks, could you make a video how to take your Wi-Fi to max performance? I have thought a lot about that, and that's on my laundry list of videos to create. And there's Mr. Sean Woods, the Nano HD master in the flesh, joining us on a Saturday. Hey, Sean, what's up? I love having all my people around. I love it. All right, so let's talk about some other things. If you haven't seen the marketing material, and I did a little bit of a video on this, this is the Grandstream WP820. When we first got it, it was the Grandstream WP800. I got this in beta, and it is not in beta any longer, and they changed the name from the WP800 to WP820 so that they could have a model below and above it. But what this is this is an actual Wi-Fi phone. This is not a DECT phone, DECT phone. And what it runs purely on Wi-Fi, and I will tell you, I love this. I should do maybe a bit more of a comprehensive, in-depth video on this, but I've got a video that'll be coming on the new Grandstream Door phone, the new Door system that just got released. So it uses proxy cards and everything. It's like the GDS 3700 series that's already out, except it does not have a camera. It's a little bit of a smaller unit. So once I get my hands on that, I will have a video coming out about that. And Grandstream, I'm working on writing a white paper for Grandstream on a deployment that we did where we used a little bit of all the different models of phones. We used the door stations. We're integrating it with automatic door openers, and everybody gets a badge, and you badge in and you badge out, and it's awesome. So I'm going to write a white paper on that because it's a really fun deployment. And we, whenever you get to deploy a phone system, a modern phone system, unlike we pulled the Toshiba CIX system off the wall. And when you get to deploy a modern phone system, and if you're not on the latest version of Grandstream UCM and you're running a UCM, get up to the latest version of that. It is fantastic. But what I like is the modern phone systems think about things a little differently than these old like Toshiba systems or these old NEC systems. And you get to talk to people, right? So I love talking to people, but you get to talk to people and you get to find out, this fly came inside. We had the door open so much. Damn. I might have actually got it. That was crazy. You just saw it. Willie's cat-like, ninja-like reflexes. But I lost my train of thought because of that fly. But talking to people. So you get to talk to people and you get to say, okay, how do you do business, right? Because every business is a little bit different. So, okay, tell me, how do the calls come in? How do you use your phones? How do you want these phones to benefit you, right? So if you've got a phone consultant and they're not asking about your business processes and how the phones are actually going to help you in business, you need to have a serious talk with your phone consultant, or you need to give me a call and we'll get you straightened out. But the phones should be enabling business. The phones should be supporting business. They should not be hindering business. Keep that in mind when you're talking about your voice over IP phone system. Is it your phone system? That is a business support function. It should be supporting you, not causing you any issues. Yes, if you're in Europe, you can get in on the VPN project. The link for the VPN project is down in the description of this video. Go fill out the form. So what's going to happen is I'm going to collect the form. It's probably around the Thanksgiving holiday. You're going to get the pre-shared key. I've noticed that some people, when they are giving me their WAN IP addresses, they are giving me RFC addresses, which are non-routable to the internet. So I'll be reaching out to those folks. And if you have a non-RFC address, right? So if your WAN address is a 10 ... if it's a 192, 168, a 172.16 through 172.31, excuse me, then we're going to have some issues that with the scale of this that I'm not sure that I'm prepared to take on or want to take on. But some people may have also accidentally given me their LAN address. So if you filled the form out, you might want to go back and make sure that I have your WAN IP. So how could one, okay, so David Allen asked me, how could one get said Wi-Fi phone? I have a client in a wheelchair and it will be perfect. I believe that you can get these on Amazon. Let me flip over to Amazon here real quick and do a search for Grandstream WP820. And it is available on Amazon. So what I'm actually going to do right now is I'm going to add that to my influencer list. So down in the description of this video, there is a link to my Amazon store. If you go there, the WP820 is now available in my Amazon store. So you can pick this guy up. I think that you will really like this phone. I mean, completely Wi-Fi. It runs a modified version of Android. You can see it booting up here. I just had to charge it. I had it off the charging station. We are always changing, rearranging, and I really had to do quite a bit of rearranging with the hot water provider. There, I didn't say heater. I said hot water provider. So in the phone, this phone is absolutely awesome. So if you were to call me, I don't even know what extension I've got programmed on it at the moment. It's still booting. It's going to connect to the Wi-Fi. But often what I will do is I will forward my desk phone to this. I'll put the belt clip on this guy, put it on my belt, walk around like I'm a manager, right? Yeah, I love this phone. And now that I have Wi-Fi in the workshop, I can take this out with me and I don't have to keep a full-size handset out there. But yeah, try it out. So, go over to my Amazon store, try it out. And the thing is, if you're not satisfied with it, it doesn't work the way that you like, you can always, send it back. Amazon's very good about customer review or customer returns. However, if you get this phone and you are not happy with it, please contact me and I will make you an offer on the phone before you go through that's how much confidence I have in this, is that if you don't like it, it's SIP based, right? So it doesn't have to just work with Grandstream phone systems. It can work with any SIP based phone system. So if you get it and you don't like it, before you return it, let me know. Let's see. Yeah, so Sean's right. Sean could see our Patreon channel getting the Wi-Fi tuning video. So now, if you've worked with me one-on-one, if I've helped you set up your Unify system, and there are thousands of you at this point, you know that sometimes we will spend just an hour and a half talking about the theoretical side of Wi-Fi and wireless and things that we have to. And I love to open up MS Paint on people's computers and draw cells and talk about all that. So if you've worked with me and you're here and you know that, you'll know that we, when somebody says, hey, I want to learn what you're doing with my Unify system, because and that's one thing. If you pay me to do a job, I will teach you. You can shadow me. Now, you can't record. I don't let people record unless it's in a contract, but I will teach you. These are how we size things. These are how we channel things. This is why we do it. And it's just as much art as it is science. There's a lot to it. And every site's different. But if you've worked with me before and you've paid me to do that, we've had this talk and all the handful of tools that we use and the things that I can help you do remotely, that you may have to also have somebody on site. There's a lot to it. And even with fixed wireless, I hear people talk about line of sight. And when people are only talking about line of sight, that means that they don't understand the wireless completely and RF theory and all the physics that go behind it, because line of sight's good, but line of sight's not everything. And just because I have line of sight actually doesn't mean that my wireless connection will work. So And I mean, there's physics books on RF that are this thick, right? And when you talk to somebody who understands RF more than I do, because I mean, I'm good at it, but there are guys that's all they do, and they are awesome at it. And you can tell because they get excited like I do, but all they talk about is RF. They don't care about TCP/IP. They don't care about security, man. It's RF. That's their wheelhouse. And there's a lot to it. I mean, all right, so raise your hand. I can't see it, but if you knew that the outside temperature and the way that heat reflects off of the road, if you've got a link over a road, can actually impact your signal. If you knew that, put it in the comments that you knew that. Give me a thumbs up. A lot of people, these are things that a lot of people don't know. So it's more than line of sight when it comes to wireless backhauls and things like that. There really is quite a bit to getting a good, decent, usable signal for the long run besides line of sight. So if you've got somebody who's working with you and they're only talking to you about line of sight, get a hold of me, go to my website. Let's have a real conversation about your fixed wireless. If we need to bring boots on the ground in, we've got a list of people. And I've had several conversations with people in other states, and James is part of this in that I'm trying to get consultants in every state. And I'm even looking at some other countries so that when I get overloaded or I need boots on the ground, that I've got local resources that I can trust, because I will vet everyone, and that I've got a resource that I can count on locally. So that is something. There'll be a whole video about that in the next few weeks. But all right, let's get back to the questions here. Have you come across the Yaystar PBX? If so, what's your view on them? I've seen Yaystar. I almost bought one. They're like any other company in that price point. They've got great marketing. How does the product hold up? I don't know. Excuse me. So if anybody has a Yaystar VPN, yikes. If anybody has a Yaystar PBX and will allow me to do a video on it, please get a hold of me and I'll get you my shipping address and we'll do a video on Yaystar and we'll take a look at it. But right now, I'm not compelled to buy that hardware myself. Grandstream is where I'm at. And if you've been on the channel, you know that when I get into these companies, I don't half-ass something. I really get into it. And I stay loyal for a long time unless the tree starts shaking. And that's a whole other video for another time there, too. So let's see. Does that Wi-Fi phone support a VPN connection? So, Andrew, I'm assuming that you're asking is, can I set up the Open VPN client directly on this phone? Now, there is a newer version of the firmware that is available for this phone that I don't have, and it very well could have VPN in it, but I'm looking at the network settings, and it's got Bluetooth. It's got, the Wi-Fi roaming mode. It's got layer 2 and layer 3. Can you see that? Layer 2 and layer 3 QoS. But it does not appear to, in the version that I have here, have VPN. But that is definitely something. So what's really nice about the Grandstream phones, if you have an open VPN server, you put the cert and everything on a phone. It's pre-configured. I can take this phone anywhere, use an open VPN as long as it's not blocked. Plug it in, it gets an IP, connects back to the mothership, registers, and you are on your way to using the phone. It's a beautiful system. So let's see here. Yeah, so David Allen knew about the weather. Yeah, the water, and you can go out and find forum posts too about like salt water. People shooting over salt water with fixed wireless. They have sometimes they have a pickle there. Do I plan on doing a video to do OSPF setup? You know what? That would be a fun video, but I wouldn't just want to do it with, so OSPF is not just a Ubiquiti thing. OSPF is a routing protocol. And by the way, there is the difference between a routing protocol and a routed protocol. So a routed protocol is a protocol that can be routed, and a routing protocol does the routing. So I should do that between a MikroTik and an edge router. I think that would be a fun video. OSPF, yeah, absolutely. I should do that. Let me actually let me put that on the list here real quick. Bear with me while I'm writing that down. All right. What else do we have in the comments here? Shane says, hey, what's up, Willie? I've sent our email conversation and the church board is going to meet and discuss, and I'll get back to you. Yeah, so Shane just got a quote from me for setting up a full unified network down in Jamaica. Do you need me to fly down there and set that up? It is getting to be cold here. Jamaica's probably pretty beautiful right now. Andrew says, I've installed a Yaystar S20. I almost thought that was a dollar sign. I was like, what? They've got a $20 PBX? I'm loyal, but it's a $20 PBX. He almost got me excited there. And he's been very happy with it. So, yeah, man, if you want me to do testing, get a hold of me and you can send that over. Let's see. Yeah, so yeah, anybody who's done somebody who's actually done the setup, somebody who's actually done the setup, somebody who's actually been on a tower or a rooftop, or somebody who does amateur radio knows the weather stuff. So yeah, that's absolutely true. So, all right, so let's talk about some other things. So last year, I got, Pocket Ethernet, and I hooked up, and this is literally, I feel bad, this has literally been sitting here for almost a year. I was going to do a video on this, and I was going to release it. They were going to do a Black Friday promotion, and timing and stuff just didn't work out. And so I've still got the Pocket Ethernet. It's still in, but let's open up the Pocket Ethernet right now. So I'll tell you, I'm very much a NetTool guy. I work with the leadership and the owners of NetTool. They are developing a special tool just for me that you will be the first ones to see. We're also doing some NetTool in the field videos. But I will do a comparison video. The Pocket Ethernet is very interesting. It does have some tools. They send you this little Velcro. I love Velcro, by the way, versus zip ties. But so when you get the Pocket Ethernet, you open it up. You can see it's quite a bit bigger than a NetTool. Not just quite a bit. It's like the size of like 4 freaking NetTools. The ends are clear acrylic, so you can see what's going on in there. We got Ethernet on this side. We got our charging, and I'm assuming that's a reset button there. And if you, sorry about that, my screen for some reason keeps going to sleep. So Pocket Ethernet is quite a bit bigger. This actually almost looks like a flask, right? So where are my whiskey fans at? Hit that thumbs up button. But this almost looks like a whiskey flask, right? So then inside the little pouch, we get a loop back and a wire map module there. And then we have a charging cable and an Ethernet on this side. So then there is the phone app. You would install the phone app. So I will do a video on this. Now I have a traditional toner, right? Back from the late 90s, early 2000s, from when I used to do a lot of work with twisted pair cabling. I mean, a lot. So I was a network engineer, but I will tell you this, that in Peoria, Illinois, I was part of setting up the very first hotel, the Mark Twain Hotel in Peoria, Illinois. I worked for the company. We were the very first hotel in the area that had high-speed internet to the rooms. And how we did it was we used a system called TUT TUT systems. I think they later got bought out by Cisco, but it used the existing phone line to the room to provide at the time, well, and it's still around. It's HPNA, the Home Phone Line Networking Alliance, HPNA, and it provided at the time, it was revolutionary. Each room was getting like 2 megabits per second, right? So we had, and so what's funny about that is at the time, McLeod USA, who's no longer McLeod USA, really, I believe they're Windstream now, you could get SDSL, and man, this was mind-blowing. SDSL, synchronous DSL, so that meant your upload and your download were the same speed. SDSL, synchronous digital subscriber line. And we would bring a 3 or 4 meg SDSL circuit in and then take it and split it to all these hotel rooms. Now, if you know anything about wiring, the interference that can be generated is just horrendous. But we were the first company. I believe we were also the first company that in the area. And my boss at the time is a visionary. His name was Bill. He was a visionary, and I worked for another guy, but I ended up working for Mark Twain Hotels as the IT manager, and then I worked for Bill. The other guy that I worked with, he's all right, but he was the kind of boss that would go sell something and then come back to the office and say, "Okay, guys, make it work." And back when I was young, I loved that shit, right? Like, get in there, get you. Now I like to do it on my own terms, and I don't like to represent a customer like that. I can see a lot of flaws in that. And there are some people who will tell you, yeah, let's figure it out together. But you're talking, when we did the TUT systems, just the chassis, I think just the chassis with the line cards and everything else, I mean, we're probably talking 75 to 100 grand, right? And that's with all the endpoints and everything. So it was a hell of an investment for nobody to know what was going on. And it was just, one of those things. But I was young and I didn't care. And just dove in and we got it. That was like the first time I ever saw a DS3 mux. And if you don't know what a DS3 is, it's basically a 45 megabit pipe. And what we used to do is there used to be a company called Eastern Research. I'm dating myself here. And they made a product called the DNX11. And what it was is it was a DS3 mux, right? So you brought a DS3 in from the telco, and we could mux it, split it out into 64K lines, 128s, T1s, and send them different places. So it was good stuff. But all right, another question in here. Sean says, "I do like that device. Call dibs." So Sean, Mr. Sean Woods, I'll make you a trade for that device, and I think you know what I want. You don't have to say it in the comments, and I don't know if you're blowing up my Hangouts right now. I see Mike's has said something to me in Hangouts, but you know what I want for that pocket Ethernet. So I'll give it a quick review, and I will trade you the pocket Ethernet. Yeah, you're laughing because you know exactly what I want. So let's talk about this, Sean. All right, so somebody says, if you were comparing the pocket Ethernet with a Fluke tool, what would the equivalent Fluke be? I don't know, Andy, and I am waiting for, before I do any videos on any actual like hardware line testers, certifiers, things like that. I'm waiting for Ideal to get back with me because they've asked them to send me a cable certifier so that we can certify cables that we've built with the FT45. And the response to the video on this tool has been outstanding. I appreciate all of you for that. This is an awesome tool. Now, I understand, before I get flamed up here, I understand that this is not for everybody, and that there are certain companies that say if you use this, that they can't warranty the equipment, and that's fine. Keep your other, crimper in the bag, but for probably 95% of your installs, these guys are going to be able to take you all the way. I've got a couple other tools that early in November I'm going to do a video on that you will definitely, I think you will like, because it's another one of these tools. It's a time saver, and I always appreciate the comments too, where people are like, well, you could just, instead of buying the tool, you can do this. And I appreciate those comments because it shows me that people can think outside of the box. People can think for themselves. But at the same time, when I look at sometimes the hassle that people will go through to keep from spending $45, that also blows my mind. So, if you're using this tool every day, if this thing's making you money, the more connections that I can get out reliably, this thing pays for itself in no time, right? So there's that. Instead of monkeying around and making all these workarounds, why not buy a tool and do it right? I will tell you that when I was young, I used to love to do stuff the hard way. I would say, well, you could do this and you could do that. And then I got older and falls hurt worse. And I like to use my time in other ways, like spending time with my family or learning other things instead of always creating these workarounds. And I'm going to tell you, man, having the right tools to be able to do a job easily and efficiently, there is nothing like having the right tools. I'm going to do videos on my ladders. I Gorilla Ladder. I hope that would be awesome if they would sponsor me. They are not a sponsor. I will never buy another ladder besides a Gorilla Ladder. First of all, because I'm not the thinnest guy in the world. I'm not huge. I'm under 200 pounds. I'm working on it, Sean. Don't get upset with me. But I like the Gorilla Ladders because they'll hold 375 pounds. I feel very secure on that ladder. And I also know somebody who's in the safety industry. That's what they do. They train on safety. They train on ladder safety, 3 points of contact, certain angles, your arms are out, the feet and all that. And they love the Gorilla Ladders, right? The multi-position ladders. So, but I'm going to do a video on my ladder because I love my ladder, and that ladder makes my job so much easier. So sometimes if you're running a business, these tools, they make you look more professional, they make you more efficient, and they're tax write-offs. So, buy tools to make you better. Tools will make you better. Creating workarounds doesn't always make you better. I've been on jobs where I've seen guys don't have a punch down tool, right? So what's a guy that doesn't have a punch down tool do? He uses a straight blade screwdriver and he tries to pop the wire in there, and you get a piss poor connection, and then I get paid to come in and clean it up and do it right. So just do yourself a favor and make yourself better, make yourself more professional, get some tools to help you do that, and grow a beard too. If you can grow a beard, grow an awesome beard. I'm just kidding. I just really like my beard. It's the first time it's ever gotten this long. So you'll notice me doing all kinds of weird things with the beard. It's not because I'm egotistical. It's because this is the first time my beard's ever been this long. My wife has allowed it. God bless her. And I'm taking advantage of this. And it's past the itchy point. So, yeah, Sean, we will definitely talk. Let's see. Parts. Yes, Will Johnson said it correctly. Parts and tools are cheap. Labor is expensive. And I was just talking with the guys that swapped out our hot water heater. And they take care of our hot water heater, and they take care of our furnace. And I heard this little rattle in the furnace. My wife's got the furnace set at 68 degrees, and there's this little rattle. And so while they were here, I wanted them to check it out. And I've only ever done any maintenance on this furnace one time myself. It wouldn't light, so I took the flame sensor out. I took some sandpaper, rubbed it, got the flame sensor working properly. And we literally just had this conversation. Could I have changed the hot water heater? Probably. Could I have done it in the amount of time that they did it? No. I could not have changed the water heater as efficiently as they did. I could not fix the furnace as efficiently because that's not my trade. Could I do it? Yeah, but there's a saying in IT, and it follows through over to other industries. Is if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait until you hire an amateur. And I will live by that. Hello, South Georgia. Mr. Internet says, great tools for great minds. I agree with that. Dennis says, when do Cat 7 cables finally make it to the U.S.? I heard that Cat 7 is not an actual ratified standard. I've seen a lot of Cat 7 stuff. Just a second. I've run into some problems with people who have Cat 7 installed, where it's an aluminum core wire with a copper coating. and it doesn't pass power properly. And we've had all kinds of issues, and they bought the cabling because it was cheap. So you got to be careful when you're buying Ethernet cable. Make sure you're not getting an aluminum core with copper coating, especially if you're going to do PoE. Sean, could you imagine if you tried to power a BT device over a cable that was aluminum core copper coating? Whew. All right. William Kuhn, the Magnapol XP1000 LC wire pulling system. Let me ask you this. Is this the thing that's got a magnet on it and it's got like a wheel, and you drop the magnet down the wall and you use the wheel to go up the wall? Can you tell me if that's what you're talking about? Because I think I've seen that. And I am getting into more wire pulling. You would think at this point in my career that I'm going the other way, but I'm seeing so much bad wire pulling that I'm getting back into it. And we are going to start our low voltage wiring videos. So I'm actually, believe it or not, I don't ever speak from a script. Everything's always off the cuff, unscripted, from my heart, from my head, but I'm actually putting together an honest to goodness outline so that we can do this like a course. David Allen, did I go tankless for hot water? So it was not my decision, but no, we did not go tankless. They replaced it with what they call a tall boy 50 gallon. We had a short boy 50 gallon water heater. They replaced it with the tall boy. So let's see. Yeah, buy tools over time. Yeah, you can't run out and buy all your tools right now. And because good tools are not always cheap, but do yourself a favor, and let's say every time you do a job or every time you get paid or whatever, so if you're a self-employed self-contractor, you know just as well as I do, if depending on how you're structured, that 15% self-employment tax right off the top, that's a killer. And that's something else I should do some videos on, like, do I do an LLC? Do I do an S Corp? What else do I do when setting up my company? Because I've learned some things through the School of Hard Knocks. And so, I help other people avoid those same pitfalls. But anyway, anytime that you can set X amount of dollars aside and buy some good tools, do it. And over time, your tools will grow. And make sure you label your tools. And we've all worked in departments where you've got awesome tools and you've got 6 guys sharing the same tool bag. And then all of a sudden you need the cable strippers and they've walked, or sorry, it's awfully dry. And I'm talking a lot, but we've all run into that situation where tools get left in the ceiling or this, or, and tools come up missing. And good tools, man, it's crazy. All right, somebody says, I saw your G Drive dock for Giant VPN. Must I use a UBNT device, or am I allowed to use MikroTik as well? Great question. So I covered this earlier. But if you want to get in on the big-ass VPN project, the big-ass VPN experience, we should get T-shirts and stickers for this. I'm going to put my wife in charge of that. Hold on, I dropped my pen. So I survived the big-ass VPN of 2018. You can use other devices. Excuse me. I'm going to supply you, if you're not using an edge router, I'm going to supply you with the settings that I'm using on my side of the connection. It will be your responsibility to make the settings match on your side to get that connection up and going. We're going to have a lot of people, and I don't want to spend a lot of time troubleshooting. So if you're confident that you can make it, and I know we all know MikroTik works because I did a video on it. If you scroll back to my edge router, my MikroTik videos, I have an edge router to MikroTik IPsec VPN video, so we know it works. But I am going to supply you with the settings for the VPN. It will be your responsibility to configure your half. VPN shirts and stickers. And then we'll have to choose a charity to send 50% of those proceeds to. Maybe Child's Play. It's coming up. Child's Play is a great charity that they buy video games and stuff for kids in hospitals. And they that's awesome, to get. I mean, when kids are stuck in the hospital, I'm the last guy in the world that wants to see a sick kid. and see kids stuck in the hospital. And if you've ever been there, man, you know it tugs on your heartstrings. Some of those kids are really sick. So giving them something to do to keep their minds off of everything that's going wrong and to give them some positivity and some light, man, that's power right there. That's touching them. All right, let's see here. Will Johnson, I'm assuming that your son's last name is Zane. So I'd like to say hi to Zane. If your last name's not Johnson, I'm sorry about that. But hi, Zane. Let's see here. All right. Cat 7 cables with RJ45 plugs are not correct, but with the pure cable will be due to the shielding. Dennis, I don't know if we're talking about the power problems that I've seen with Cat 7 or not. Hey, Stubby. What's my brand of choice? Panduit, Comscope. Panduit is my preference for many reasons. I'm assuming you're talking about cable. I've seen some Comscope. I know that Xfinity uses Comscope. But if you want to know the truth, we buy a lot of ours from, well, and here it is, straight up. If I'm not using the Unify cable or the Tough cable, we order our stuff from either Gray Bar or, excuse me, either Gray Bar or Crescent or Springfield Electric. And we tell them whether it needs to be plenum rated or not. And we tell them whether it's gray or blue. And honestly, as long as it meets the requirements, I'm not sure of the brand unless it is, unless it's Ubiquity. Yeah, so my electrician, William Kuhn, he's awesome. He's like a human cartoon. He gets excited. I mean, he's a hell of a guy. But we were at a site. They were running electric, and we were running the Ethernet, and he had that there. And that thing was a lifesaver. That you drop it down the wall, hook your Ethernet cable on, run that magnet up the wall. I should buy one of those. I'll have to, yeah. Let's see here. Are Cat 7 not just sales gas? One will need $1 million, I guess, hardware. Not sure what that means, Marson. But are you meaning that maybe Cat 7 is like vaporware, like it's not like really a thing or shouldn't be a thing? So, how does your wife feel about your network room? Is she into tech as much as you are? So she is learning, and my son is planning to be a veterinarian, but he wants to learn what I do so he can help me and earn money. And then he told me, Dad, IT would be a great fallback. All right. So I'm plan B there, but my wife, I am actively trying to train my wife. She is learning some things. So then when she goes to work, she actually picks up on things, and the folks that she works with, they know what I do. So they're always like, ask your husband. And she's like, no. But some things she does know how to do. And some things we talk about, but I do want to train her. She's actually talked about wanting to be able to help. So I would love to be able to make this a family affair. It'd be awesome. And my wife, she tolerates the network room. How does that sound? All right. Stubby says, I'm a little late here, but would like to ask. I have 4 by 10 terabyte hard drives. I use a RAID 5. Sorry, my monitor went to sleep. Should I use RAID 5 or RAID 10? They are slow Western Digital RAIDs. The RAID 10 would have good speed. Is it worth it? It depends what your application is. So this also depends how many IT people you ask. But I will tell you that when I was building Exact Vision, which is a fantastic security camera in VR system, expensive but fantastic. In their build guides, when they talk about video, they want the storage of video, and especially if it is going to be important video. So, and here's my opinion: if I'm taking the time to run the cables and mount the cameras, there's a reason for that video. So I treat all video as important, and then it only gets more important. Excuse me, man. The environment with this going on has got my nose itching and my throat dry. Sorry about that. But so video is important. If you're taking the time to record it, it's obviously important. I treat all of my video important, and then we escalate from there. We run, it was Exact Vision's recommendation when we're building the NVRs to run RAID 6. And so most of our video rollouts, that can support RAID 6 are RAID 6, and that is based on ExactVision's engineers' suggestions for video. So that's where I'm at with that. No problem, Will. That's awesome. Andy, I could take you up on that offer of t-shirts and stickers in the UK. That'd be fantastic. Most cases, Cat 5e is enough. Who would need Cat 7? So let's talk about that. They sure sell a lot of Cat 5e. They still sell a lot of it, and they sell Cat 6. Now, here's an awesome question for you. Do you think, and chime in on this, right? But do you think that if right now I took a 2-foot piece of Cat 6 and a 2-foot piece of Cat 5e and terminated them and plugged them in to a Unify XG switch, which has copper 10 gig ports, and I plugged them into my Unify XG server, which has 10 gig copper Ethernet, do you think that the Cat 5e would link up at 10 gig? Put your answer in the comments. I think that depending on the distance, Cat 5e will probably link up, but it's not certified, right? So Cat 6, they're telling you Cat 6 is the way to do it. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You should probably follow your manufacturer's recommendations. Don't just, so if you're going to if you're going to do 10 gig, I would probably go with Cat 6 because Cat 6 is rated for 10 gig. And if you run into issues later down the road and they're like, well, what kind of cable are you using? And you're using Cat 5e. Well, guess what? You're not running 10 gig cabling. You've run Cat 5e, right? And it used to be like back in the day, we would virtualize servers before it was cool, right? And when I would call support, we learned that you couldn't tell them it was running on a virtual server. Because as soon as you said the word VMware, they threw up their hands and they said, we don't support a virtualized environment. Well, the way you got around it is because you knew, right? You knew, you're the dude that built this system. You birthed this thing. You knew that VMware was not the problem. How often is your hypervisor actually the problem, right? If you have enough resources. It doesn't happen a lot. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that's not the most common problem. So after a while, we just don't tell people that they're virtual. Yeah, I got a server. Yeah, it's got 16 gigs of RAM. Yeah, it's got, 2 processors. Checks all the boxes. And then they go, oh, well, there's a misconfiguration here. Right. It's not VMware's fault. It's not Proxmox's fault. It's not Citrix's fault. It's not KVM's fault. It's not any of the fault of the hypervisor. It's something else inside the operating system. So you're going to get into that. But cabling, it might have been a bad analogy because cabling is a little bit different. But, it's... if they tell you to run Cat 6, you should probably go ahead and... Okay, so Will says Cat 6 will do 10 gig up to 100 feet. Yeah, I don't think Cat 5e at 100 feet is going to do... Maybe if you had shielded Cat 5, it would. I don't know. I've never run those kinds of experiments. Now, one thing that I always wanted to do is I have... Oh, you want me to show you what I've got? Hold on. Stay there. Don't leave. All right, so I like... all right, does anybody know what this is? Does anybody know what this is? Put it in the comments if you know what this is. Put it in the comments. Somebody tell me what this thing is. I'll give you a few minutes. You need to see it again? What is this thing? If you watch a lot of clickbaity YouTubers... You've probably seen one of these. Guys that do science videos and stuff like that. This is... Somebody says it's a large thermos or a coffee carrier. This is the most damn expensive thermos I've ever bought in my life. Yes. So, it is... I don't eat at McDonald's, Andy. But I know. I'm a little plump. And maybe it looks like I do. But I don't. That is a liquid nitrogen dewar. And so I am going to freeze stuff, access points specifically, some Cisco access points. And then I thought it'd be cool to make a video literally where we freeze a firewall and see if we can make it explode. But one thing I've always wanted to do, and I actually suggested this to another YouTuber who called me, and we were kind of talking, and he's telling me about what he's going to do. And I'm like, man, it would be really cool. And I've wanted to do this, but my schedule, when the place where I can get liquid nitrogen is open, I'm at work. And so it's very difficult. I can't just take a day off to go get liquid nitrogen and jack around. I mean, my time is, I think that's cool. And that's like the little kid inside of me wants to show you that. But that aside, what I always wanted to do was I wanted to get some liquid nitrogen, and I wanted to hook up from my PC to the switch. I wanted to run a speed test. And then what I wanted to do, and by speed test, it could be copying files from the desktop to the server, whatever, get a baseline. But then what I wanted to do was I wanted to take liquid nitrogen, and I wanted to take a section of the cable and rest it in liquid nitrogen and see, does that cable being frozen, okay, first of all, does it completely stop the transmission? Do we completely F it up, right? Or does it make it faster? I thought that would be awesome. And I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to dip a rose and a head of lettuce in here and smack it with a hammer, but I bought this. If you go way back in my videos, you'll see where I made poor man's liquid nitrogen, and we dropped a router into it, D-Link router. And so then I'm like, you know what? The next frozen router video I do, it's going to be legit. It's going to be the real deal. And so I bought a liquid nitrogen doer. Yep. And it even comes with it even came with a little, these little dippers that go in there that hold because traditionally you haul around, hold on a second. My wife texted me. She's got my son at basketball practice, and she just wants to know if the guys are done with the hot water heater. And but if you took ag classes in high school, what's transported usually in these liquid nitrogen dewars is usually like semen samples for animals. Could be humans too. But I got rid of the cups. I don't need those, right? I just need to pour liquid nitrogen in there and pour it out. All right. So Zach says that he doesn't think that the results would be there would be any effect on the cable. So I don't know. I'd still like to try it. Wouldn't you guys like to see? If you'd like to see me use liquid nitrogen on an Ethernet cable, give me a thumbs up over there. If I can get this video up to like 100 thumbs up by the time we're done, I will figure out how to get liquid nitrogen, and you can hold me to that, and we'll put an Ethernet cable in it, and I'll film everything. We'll just go, we'll go all in. I'll get a hold of my buddy Luke. I'll be like, dude, can you get the liquid nitrogen for me? We'll film everything. Maybe we'll just do a live stream so the camera doesn't cut away. Remember watching David Copperfield growing up as a kid, and they're like, the camera will not cut away. We'll totally do that with liquid nitrogen. All right, let's talk about a couple other things. So Bill says the speed will change as electrons act differently at different temps. And that's what I thought, right? That if we froze the cable, that something may happen. You guys got a long way to go on those thumbs up, and I would really like to do this. We're at 28 thumbs up. See if we can get it up to 100. Now, I will call Luke while we're on the air and see if I can make this happen if we get this up to 100 thumbs up. All right, so let's talk about Raspberry Pis. So, I'm a huge Raspberry Pi fan. Not the physical Pi, the computer Pi. And what I've got is there are all different kinds of these single board computers out there. And this one is called a Nano Pi. And you can see that they got like a Python as the logo. And it says better price, better Pi. So I was actually able to pick these up, 2 of them, for the price of a standard Raspberry Pi. Hold on. Somebody texted me here. Who's texting me? man, so it's like somebody's gotten a hold of my number, my cell phone number, and I keep getting like weird phone calls, and I'm getting these text messages from Uber. And the last time that I used Uber was in Las Vegas last October. But anyway, back to these Pis. I picked these up. I bought a bunch of electronics to play around with, and I was looking for Raspberry Pi alternatives because I'm like, man, because what kind of projects do I want to do with Raspberry Pis? I got so many projects that I want to do. And at the time, I wasn't happy with the size of the Raspberry Pi. So check this guy out. Now, this guy runs a similar processor, will run the same software, but look at the form factor. It's got a full-size HDMI, of course, our Ethernet, our USBs, and our audio. It's got the full GPIO headers. And then on this side, I don't even know what the hell that is. I think that's an IR transmitter. And then I've got another USB there. Over here, I've got the power, and then we've got the little cable header thing. But I thought this was really cool. In fact, though, I think the processor is actually faster on this guy than a standard Raspberry Pi. The model on this one is the Nano Pi M1. It's got 1 gig of RAM. And I think I was really excited when I bought this because it did have a gig of RAM. And I was like, oh man, my Raspberry Pi has only got 512 megs of RAM. And so I got this one, and I really like this. I like the form factor of this. And then, of course, your SD card slot is on the bottom there. Let me put this guy away, and I'll show you this other one. I bought 2 of these from this. No, it is not the size of the. You just want Stubby. You just want to see me whip out this Cloud Key 2. Is this what you want to see? Yep. And there, I'm waiting for the rack mount accessory to come out on this guy. By the way, you saw my Unify 5.9.29 video. 5.9.29, you can download the packages for that. It is not exclusive to the Ubiquiti devices. But I've had some reports of some issues with 5.9.29. So just make sure you've got a backup in case you need to fail over or fail back. Always have a backup plan. These are things that you need to have in place. Now, the second one, let's take a look at this guy. This one is the Nano Pi Neo, and it's got 512 megs of RAM. And I think this guy, or gal, whatever you want it to be. Oh, yeah. I really love this one. Check this out. So this is the full-blown, run, I can run Raspbian on it. Check this out. Look how tiny that guy is. So there's the standard Ethernet port. This is the size of the machine. Think about the applications of this, right? Yeah, I've got no video, but if I've programmed this thing properly, do I really need video? Do you know what I'm saying? So something like this, perfect for Screenly. And look how tiny it is. Now, I will say that the Raspberry Pi, let's see. So here's the Raspberry Pi 0W. So it's in the case. There's the HDMI converter there. But then I've got one here that's not in the case. I've got one here. This is the Raspberry Pi Zero version 1.3. So let me open this up, and I will show you the difference in size. So here is a Raspberry Pi Zero. This is not the W. And then here is the Nano Pi. So the Nano is just a little wider, but has a full-blown Ethernet, but I don't get video. Like I said, I don't necessarily need video, but that Ethernet connection is going to allow me to run Screenly. So, I mean, and there's so many of these single board computers coming out, so many of them, and they're so inexpensive that we're all going to end up with a drawer full of these things. We're not going to be able to deploy them all, you know. So I'll probably turn the other one with the full-size HDMI out will, in all seriousness, likely become a gaming station, because I have plans for my other Raspberry Pi 3, which you will get to be part of. And like I said, it's getting colder, so I got a lot of projects that I want to check the box off on, and that I want to bring this content to you. But let's see, what else do we have? And then, let's see. I think that's it for the Pis for the moment. All of my other Pis are all full board, and so they're quite a bit bigger. Let's talk about some other things going on. So I will never use my client names unless they tell me it's okay. But I've got a client who's experiencing problems with Edge Router Pros and the latest software. And we've got 3 connections for failover. And then we also have site-to-site VPN and user VPN. And sorry, my wife texted me again. And we're having major problems. Major problems. And hey, Sean. Yeah, man. You have a good evening, too. Hit me up on the Google Hangouts. We'll talk about that trade. Oh, yeah, there's some hidden gems in here for sure. But we're actually pulling out the edge routers, and we're going with MikroTiks. And he's got the MikroTiks en route. It's 3 sites. And the thing is, this client, he doesn't want to mess around. He's a big auto parts company in the southern United States, and he doesn't want to mess around. So we're pulling the edge routers out. And so I'm not quite sure what's going on with that, but his MikroTiks will be in this week. I'm not doing any work on Halloween, but I'm going to get it configured up and get it going. But let's talk about a couple other things here. I may have showed this to you. The USB over Cat 5. Hey, Derek, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I know maybe that feels like a line when I say it, but I'm telling you, without you guys, there'd be really no reason to do this. No motivation, to help. I'm glad that you guys learn things and you pass it on and you ask questions and you interact. And I'm really grateful and thankful for those of you who use me for consulting. I truly am. No matter what you believe in, what your belief structure is, I truly feel that I'm blessed. So back to this. So this is a monoprice USB extension cable. You can supposedly, now I've seen it at short runs, and I've done this at short runs at like 30 feet, USB at 30 feet. But with USB, you start getting into some possible timing issues. Oh, I was like, who's here? My wife's grandmother is here, and she came over, and we're actually having fried eggs and fried potatoes and bacon for supper. But that's like a good hearty family meal, and I think I'm going to have some whiskey tonight too. Like 99% sure I am going to have some whiskey. And it's going to be some of the stuff my friend Morgan brought me. It's small batch stuff from Texas. It's never been opened. So if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, if you don't, follow me down there and you will see the pictures of the whiskey as I crack that open tonight. But anyway, I am going to do a 150-foot test with this to see if I can actually get good USB speeds. It is USB 2, not USB 3. And what it says here is that this USB extender allows you to conquer the 5-meter USB length limitation. Using inexpensive patch cables, this extender provides the simplest and most economic way to extend the distance of a USB device up to 150 feet. Now you can place your USB cameras, printers, webcams, keyboard, mice combinations, or any other USB device exactly where you want it. If this thing works at 150 feet, I have seen it work, like I said, 20 to 30 feet, it'll be a miracle. So we'll try this out, but I really want it to work at 150 feet. Really want it to work. And there'll be a video on that. Excuse me. All right. Let's see. Aren't microticks vulnerable? So release the one. Everything, if not configured properly, is vulnerable. Now, there may have been some vulnerabilities that went further than that. But if you secure your devices properly and don't use default configurations, you're going to be like 99%, you're going to be okay. David Rager. Hey, David. Have a USG and a Synology. Which should I use for VPN around 5 users? Also want access privileges to be driven from Active Directory. So either one of those will be able to be combined with Active Directory. You've got to ask yourself, what kind of VPN? If it's going to be Open VPN, you definitely don't want to do it on the USG because the USG cannot hardware offload the Open VPN, and so it's going to be, the performance on that is going to be poor. If you're going to do IPsec, then you could do either. If you're going to do Open VPN, I would probably go with the Synology, depending on the model. I actually have a customer who's doing this with QNAP, and I have to test it for him. He's getting ready to go out of town, and I got to test it. He's having some issues, so I got to do that here later tonight. All right, let's see. USB over Ethernet, so it'll turn a USB hard drive into a NAS. Andy, no, it won't. What it'll allow you to do is take that little 3-foot cable that they send you with that hard drive and extend it to 150 feet. So now you could have your hard drive. Okay, so here's a good example. So if any of you have big safes at home, I was at the sporting goods store a couple weeks ago because rabbit season actually starts, should be November 1st. And I want to make sure my kids know how to hunt. I want to make sure my kids know how to fish, that they can take care of themselves in the event that they have to. Well, first of all, it's recreational and it's fun. I'm not even going to try to pretend that it's not. And it's therapeutic to go walk in the woods. But if something happens, I will tell you growing up that if Dad didn't hunt, sometimes, my dad was a union truck driver. He got laid off in the wintertime, and they supplemented the food in the house with hunting. And I think it's a great skill for the kids to learn, and I'm going to teach them. But anyway, so I was at the sporting goods store. So they have this big safe, this huge safe at the sporting goods store, and it's got a place where you can run Ethernet cable or some sort of cable into it, right? So let's say in your house, you want to back up your computer to a USB hard drive, but you're like, oh, where do I keep it? So you could take this, if your computer's within 150 feet of that safe, you could run the Ethernet into there and have your USB hard drive in your safe and back up inside of your safe. So, yeah, it doesn't turn it into a NAS, just allows us to do that. Yeah, Grouchy Ed, glad you're using Unify. I'm hoping that Robert over at Ubiquity is putting some downward pressure on getting some of these things that we need to get done for all of us. All right. So everybody is saying that they've used these and it's working out all right. So interesting. Yeah. So L2TP, David, I would probably go with the USG. So all you've got to do, if you've got a USG, all you have to do is set up your profile, your Radius profile to work with Active Directory. If you need help with that, David, go to my link down below or email me. I think you and I have emailed before. Shoot me an email. We can get it set up and get you taken care of as soon as possible. No, it will not. It will not work with the switch. So So if we look at this device, let me take it out of the package. I didn't want to take it out until I was going to use it, but I feel that this needs to be done. All right, so we've got our USB over Ethernet extender. Ethernet's here on each side. On this side, we've got the USB. This is the side that plugs into your PC. This is the side that takes the cable from the device that you want to extend. So this is, when you know it, I don't have a, you would think of all the people in the world that would have a patch cable readily available, that I would be one of them. You'd be wrong. No, I'm just kidding. You were right. I did have one right here. I got a 5-gallon bucket full of them. All right. So Ethernet into this side, right? And then Ethernet into this side. So where you had that short USB cable, so now you're plugging this into your PC and this into the device, and you're supposed to be able to, this cable in between is supposed to be able to be 150 feet. So we'll see how that all works out for us. I heard her. All right. So, all right. Let's get back to it here. So now that the devices are out of the package. All right. Next question. Randy, I'm not 100% sure what question I answered, but you're welcome. Do you know if Unify will ever come out with a rack mount cloud key? We were just talking about that. So if you buy a Unify application server, that big $2,000 server or whatever it is, that's rack mount. Runs the same software as the cloud key. But on the bottom of the Gen 2, and if you've got the Gen 2 Plus, which I don't have yet, it's got this connector right here. And this connector, if you go over to Ubiquiti's website, they have on the Unify page with the Cloud Key Gen 2 and the Gen 2 Plus, they have a rack mount adapter that they're supposed to be coming out with. I have no idea when it's going to come out. I've seen the question asked on the forum. I don't know that there's an answer, but I hope they come out with it quick. I haven't even seen it in the store that's name will not be discussed during a live stream or on YouTube. So I'm super duper interested because that's a game changer right there. Anytime I can shove something in the rack, without having to put it on the shelf, that's a plus. Stubby, if you buy me a G2 and you send it to me, I'll take it apart. I am not taking mine apart. I only have the one, and I'm not taking it apart. But if you send me one, I'll take yours apart, and then I'll send it back to you. You may even have some extra parts when I send it. All right, what do we got here? Hey, Santa Cruz, California. Nice that you are here, Luciano. All right. Yeah, somebody said use Velcro tape and stick it down on a shelf. That's not a horrible idea. All right, so Jonathan Kyle Brooks says, I started with the Edge Router X and Unify AP Pro when I owned a mobile laser tag business. I love laser tag. There's a place by us. It's probably about an hour and 15 minutes from us. And they have laser tag. And I will tell you, as a family unit, the 5 of us playing laser tag, we had so much fun. We love to do that about once a year. And we should be taking a laser trip tag here, a laser tag trip pretty soon. But man, so back to the question. The gun sensors and mobile app on cell phones all ran off Wi-Fi, and they connected to my laptop. Yeah, that's awesome. And you probably got pretty good throughput. So somebody says Ubiquiti has to have some broken, defective ones by now. See if they will send you one. So I don't know what they do with their RMAs. I will tell you that I talked to a Ubiquiti employee a couple of years back, and he told me that a large amount of the RMAs they were getting at the time were from people who didn't understand how to set the devices up and use them properly. And my suggestion to him at the time was to make the devices available at low or no cost through TechSoup. And I don't know if Robert Para ever sees this, or if anybody knows Robert Para. I think that it would be a great, if they want to talk about making an impact on people, if they could get those RMAs that are actually functioning with us, like a 30-day warranty. Don't warranty it for a year, but we're going to give you this network gear. And, you know, that would be awesome to see them get those devices, because I don't know if they have to destroy those devices. I mean, I don't know what happens with them, but we have a lot of electronic waste as a society, and I'm talking worldwide, not just the US. We got to figure that problem out. All right. Hi from Ireland. We do real whiskey over here. Yes, that's what I hear. That's what I hear. Hey, let me ask you this. And give me a thumbs up or put it in the comments, but I'm really super serious about this because I want to show you all aspects of IT life. Now, I am an IT supervisor during the day, but I'm still super duper hands-on. And that probably drives the guy that reports to me nuts and people that work with me nuts, but I love to be hands-on. But I want to talk about all aspects. And besides the tools, would you be interested, like, this is going to sound weird, but I have a pair of pants that I bought to test out. Yes, a pair of pants. Would you love to see a review even on the clothes that I choose to wear when I do these jobs? Let me know in the comments. Give me a thumbs up, because they're kind of IT pants. And by the way, Randy, I can't tell if your icon for your user is supposed to be the dude, the Big Lebowski, or if that's supposed to be you, but maybe you look like the Big Lebowski, but I can abide, brother. Yeah, that we should have some White Russians and kick back. It was the carpet pissers. Yeah, man, I love it. Are you a nihilist? So, need a cabling guy? Let me know. I am BICSI certified. So if people don't know what that is, that BICSI is a certification for low voltage cabling installers, which is funny because I think I am going to go sit for that exam as well. Now, it probably won't be until next year because I'm working on my CISSP. My CISSP is going to come first. And once I get that done, then I will look at some of the other certifications. I do have Grandstream certification now. I'm looking to get the second level, and then if I understand correctly, the master level of Grandstream, you have to go to Grandstream or go to a testing center and take your own lab gear for that, and I am really excited to get to that level. So, yes. So if yes, all things. No, they are not corduroy. But if you, I mean, yeah, seriously, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. I want to do, so like right now, the work boots that I'm wearing, I normally don't wear my work boots at home. I've got a different pair of boots that I wear outside when we're doing stuff here, and they're more like a cowboy boot, slip-on work boot. But I bought something a little bit nicer since I do have to have meetings and stuff. But I also need to protect my feet, so I've got a really nice pair of Red Wing steel toe boots that I bought from Bass Pro. I caught them on sale. These are my daily driver, and I love these things. And I was stomping around in water and messing with a hot water heater and hoses, and I've still got to get that all cleaned up. But so that's what I was wearing right now. And then when here's the right one. No difference in the right and left besides their right and left. I really like the way these things look. They feel great. I stand all day, so these boots have got a great amount of cushioning. And then my favorite pair of shoes, my wife bought me these, and you know you're getting old when you got to have support in your shoes, but these are All-Star. These are Chuck Taylor, the second gen. And if you look, they've got really nice padding and arch support in here. But these are my kicks on the weekends and when I'm out and stuff like that. So when people see me and I'm not wearing boots, I've got just a couple different pairs of tennis shoes, and a lot of times you see me in Chucks just because they are so comfortable. I'm not an athlete by any stretch of the imagination, but I do like my Chucks. And then when we go on vacations and we're going to be on the beach or whatever, I do keep a pair of the Vibram 5 fingers. So if you see me on the beach or at a place where there is water attractions, you'll see me in the Vibram 5 fingers. I love those. They can get wet, they get dried out. They're perfect. What do you think about the Amplify products? If they are really a great home product, and to many tech nerds, okay, so I will tell you, I think Amplify is a great product. I also think Google Home's a great product. I think the Orbi is a great product. It all depends on who sets it up, how it gets set up, all that. So I have deployed Amplify. I have in-home Amplify deployments where I don't want to mess with Unify, and maybe the grandson of the people is going to manage it. And it works great. Now, Ubiquiti did not send me one of the there's a new Amplify. It's like low profile and stuff. They didn't send me one of those. If they did send me one, I would test those. But I think Amplify, honestly, I will tell you that I think Amplify is a solid product. I really do. And I ran it here, and Amplify really does work. So, all right. So T. Scott says, actually, Wilden says, hello, brother. How are you? Excellent. Better than I deserve. So T. Scott the third says, does the Edge Router 4 work with Unify and the Cloud Key? They will work together, but they don't work together in the software, if that makes any sense. You cannot manage the Edge Router 4 from Unify. Bill Green says, I work for a large telecom, so I only wear Red Wings. Is that AT&T or Verizon or Frontier? And they probably give you, if you're union, they probably give you an allowance for your uniform and your boots and stuff, right? Maybe you make a video on how to secure AP uplinks, something like port security on Unify Stack. So, all right, if you want to run port security on Unify, do this. Take a big, deep breath. Hold it for just a second. Let go and laugh. Because the Unify switches do not support port security. Should be coming. I don't know, but that's just another thing missing from our enterprise layout, is that port security. Port security is very important. All right. What do I think about weed in Canada? I think that the memes on the internet were winning. I don't know if you saw it, but it was a picture of North America, and it said today's weather forecast in Canada, and it had this big cloud of smoke over Canada. So I think it's awesome that they did that. I think that, we need to think about how we do that. I think we need to think about it in the United States about how we prosecute people for marijuana crimes. And I think there's a lot of, I'm not going to get into it, but I don't think people should be going to jail for it. All right. Let's put it this way. I never saw anybody smoke weed and then, cause a ruckus like people with alcohol. I'm going to leave it at that. And I like alcohol. So what's that tell you? All right. Yes. Footy shoes. Randy, I love my Vibrams, man. I'll be really sad when I have to replace those because they get broken in. They get kind of molded to your feet. I absolutely love it. For those of you just joining us, if I can get to 100 thumbs up by the end of this live stream, I'm going to call my friend Luke on the live stream if we get there, and we're going to arrange to get some liquid nitrogen so we can freeze an Ethernet cable. So sometimes the Vibrams will get sand in them, but they feel really good. Now, my arch support's not strong enough to run in them like a 5K when we do 5Ks, but give it time and it'll get there. All right. When would anyone really want to use mesh? Seems like too much of a performance hit. So there is a small amount of cases where you would use mesh. You can watch some YouTube videos out there where this dude goes down his whole street and does mesh. I had a client who saw this video, calls me, says, I want this mesh. I saw this guy do it. And this guy's trying to deploy it in a warehouse. And I said, it's going to fail. It's not going to work. And guess what? It failed. It didn't work. And he had to hardwire it. So here is where I'm at with Ubiquiti Mesh. Now, I haven't done any testing of the other mesh products that I'm working on that in the lab. Only so many days or hours in a day. But I never sell Ubiquiti Mesh as a mesh. I only sell the Ubiquiti Mesh access points as access points, and they're great outdoor access points. But if you are doing high throughput, if you're setting yourself up, you have to understand the expectations. And I would personally never sell the mesh product as a mesh network right now. Not this product. Not this product. Now, we're going to see how the Synology works, because the Synology has, you can dedicate one of the 3 radios in this, and they're doing the mesh a little bit differently than others. So we're going to see how it's going to work there. I may recommend this in an office environment, but I don't recommend it the way that it's currently laid out in Unify, but I'll deploy the shit out of those Unify mesh access points as outdoor access points, because they are rugged. Bill, you're Comcast. I'm sorry. Are you on? There's a couple Facebook groups, Bill, that I'm in. Cable Gods. Are you in the Cable Gods group? Should check that out. All right. What am I binge watching on Netflix? Great question. So I don't have a Netflix subscription. I used to, and then I canceled it when they upped the price and all that. But we do have a Hulu subscription, and we are currently catching up on Manifest. If you haven't watched Manifest, it's beautiful. Somebody told me I need to watch The Wire, so we're going to check that out. We watched The Good Place, Superstore, and we never watch TV in real time. We always go back and we catch it later. We're watching The Resident. We are watching The Good Doctor, which The Good Doctor is awesome. It's about a doctor who has autism. It's fantastic. And then we watch all kinds of good just pick up things here and there. I do watch Silicon Valley, Mr. Robot. I need to finish Vice Principals on HBO. So, all right, let's see here. Hey, man, Earth Dragon, thank you for subscribing, and I hope you have a great weekend too, man. Like I said, I appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. And it's just not just a line, but man, community, we can make the world a better place, teaching each other, because you guys all have skills that I don't have, right? So maybe you guys should start YouTube channels for your skills, and then you're learning IT from me, and I'll learn how to turn wood from you, or do my electrical from you, or replace my own hot water heater, man, or something. Yeah, let's do this. Let's make the world a better place. All right. Randy says, I have a Synology NAS and recently upgraded my Unify to 5.9.29 and was losing my stuff because my subdomain would auto redirect to my Synology login from the outside. So it sounds like there might be a hairpinning NAT issue, possibly, Randy. All right, Steven says, hey, from the UK. Hey, Stephen K. I just added some Nano HDs to a deployment of AC lights and pros, but I've been reading that Wave 2 seems like it will be skipped over by device OEMs in favor of 802.11ax. Who here can guess? Don't Google it. There is a manufacturer that back in July announced, was it June or July? One of the J months, announced that they were the first manufacturer to bring 802.11ax to the market. I just had this conversation with Sean yesterday, so Sean cannot answer this if he's still here. But guess who it was? But they are rolling it out. They are expensive, but they are rolling it out. So that Toys for Boys, I can't have Super Chat. You could go to my PayPal thing and donate, or go become a patron. But I don't have, my channel. I don't have monetization, so I can't do Super Chat. But I appreciate you trying to reach out to me. Yeah, Bill, those groups are always good for a laugh. Ah, yeah, UP&P. I ran into that with a QNAP on one of my customers. Please review the test safe access and threat prevention Synology RT2600. It's working great. And I am doing a follow-up to the video. Somebody emailed me, and I got to find out if it's okay to use their first name in the video about some of the things that were raised in the comments that basically... So I'm going to do that. There's going to be a follow-up on this. But my kids, I'm telling you, this thing gives me greater control over the parental control than Unify, than Amplify, and the kids are not digging it at all. But it's great. Yeah, Randy, I'm sorry that I don't have, but you can use, if you go to my channel, there's a PayPal link, and you can donate via PayPal there. But yeah, so those are coming. Yeah, you need a Pro or a Pro HD to beam to a mesh AP so you don't lose on antennas. That is correct. Everybody should be dropping likes on the video. Hello, Gary, Indiana. J. Michael Phelps. Nice of you to join us. Derek says, will there be a video or discussion on the new Unify in-wall HD? I have a Unify in-wall HD. I am working on a video that is coming soon. That beast is in the wild, no longer in the beta store, so I can do a video on it. And so that is coming. It is not Asus. It's not Xiaomi. It's not Asus. It's not Cool. It's not Aruba. It's not Cisco. Nobody's guessed it. It's not Ruckus. There's one more big player, and nobody has guessed it yet. Armando, I do not have a Bitcoin wallet. I've contemplated that. Cryptocurrency. If you saw my video last December, I got into Bitcoin. I'm sitting there with several thousand Bitcoins. Cryptocurrency scares the hell out of me. And I don't know why. It's an irrational fear. Maybe because I know how technology works. And I see all of the news articles about Bitcoin exchanges just vanishing in the middle of the night and taking millions of dollars with them. Okay, it's not Netgear. It is not D-Link. Earth Dragon, this is a Logitech HD 1080p that you are watching me on now. Yes, James. Ding, 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 ding. James, you win, man. It is Arrow Hive. Arrow Hive was the company that already announced an 802.11ax. And by the way, if you don't know, WPA3 is out. But I don't know when support is. Synology already supports WPA3. Don't know when the other manufacturers that we work with are going to roll it out. It's that time. Says, hi, Will. First time to watch. Love your videos. Really a great help. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm glad they are helping you out. Godzilla, what a mess. Good day from Australia. Love the channel. Been a lot of great info. Yes. Thank you. And if you have video suggestions, as always, let me know. I can't promise that I will get to them soon, but I will promise you that they will go on a list. All right. D-Link does not belong in this chat. Hey, you know what? D-Link actually contacted me. D-Link actually makes a pretty decent enterprise switch. They make a pretty decent enterprise switch, believe it or not. Cambium. No, it wasn't Cambium. All right, so what else should we talk about here before we run out of things to talk about? Let's see. What else do I have to show you? Haven't showed you that yet. Would you all be interested in a side-by-side comparison of different access points from different manufacturers? Would that interest you? Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you would like to see that. They do if you burn their home routers with DDWRT. I love DDWRT. DDWRT, man, you can... does the Edge Router 6P have a built-in switch? No, it does not. It is a software bridge, and you will take a penalty for configuring that. So sweet. So I love it. Yes, let's do it. We are going to do a side-by-side access point comparison. I've also got something that I wanted to do. I've been watching some other people do some things, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to run with it. I'm going to put my spin on it. And I don't want to say too much more until the video comes out. I'm at a point where I just want to do things kind of my way that I want to present them to you. And, we're getting ready to come up on 30,000 subscribers. Do you know how crazy that is for me? Like, honestly, to think that I have 30,000 subscribers, you guys blow me away every day. Like when I started creating the videos, I was like, nobody's going to watch this garbage. And here we are, 30,000 subscribers later. So thank you to all of you. I'm not sure how to pronounce your first name. I'm going to try it. Zeligo? I would like to see or hear watch more combinations between MikroTik devices and Ubiquiti, like routing on the MikroTik and WLAN on Ubiquiti or VPN or that's the kind of feedback that I need to know, like how many people are interested in those kinds of videos. So, all right. Irfane, good night. I'm 8 hours ahead of you. Would love if the stream started a tad earlier. So I'm sorry about that. I didn't think I was going to get a live stream at all today because of the hot water heater, of the hot water appliance, the water heater appliance debacle. That's not what you want to see when you go to change your furnace filter. Is a stream of water coming out of the water heating apparatus. But that's, yeah. DJ Evergreen says, how about a multi-vendor deployment? That'll be interesting. That's actually in the works. It is actually in the works. No, I don't have my monetization. So, the way that I do make money from the YouTube channel is, of course, people who use me for consulting and people who use the Amazon links, people who are patrons, and the donations. And I want to, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to all of you. Hey, man, you got a thing for D-Link, and I love it. Yeah, so I'm going to get some MikroTik access points, just the straight up access points in, because they're inexpensive and they do some really cool stuff. Smarter Money says, how about a reverse VPN so one can remote to site for support? I actually want to do a video that's kind of like that, but I can't give too many details away because I don't want to give either false hope, false expectations, and I don't want other people that make these videos to see it and then screw up my idea. Not that anybody would do that, but I'm just saying a lot of us think alike, but so I need to keep my twist on it. So that's why I don't say too much anymore. What time do you start your show on Saturdays? So usually I start at like 10 a.m. Central, and today we got started super late because of the water heating apparatus. Let's see here. Do you think there is any advantage to adding a network card to a desktop for gigabit connections? So if you go out on Amazon or if you go to Google, you can do a search for gaming low latency network card. And there are people that will sell you a low latency networking, latency gaming network card for a lot of money. That's dumb. That's absolutely, it's so dumb. Oh, it's so dumb. I don't know how much of a difference, unless you're like doing stock trades, that's actually going to make. So, I mean, you can, it's totally your preference. And I'm not telling you to not buy an Ethernet card, but I'm telling you that for most users are not going to notice a difference between the built-in Ethernet speed and a card. Can't please everyone. I'm actually happy you did the live stream later. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm blessed that I'm getting to do it at all. Can you do any work-related project documentation videos? I really want to keep that separate. I deal so much with security and other things. We're getting ready to do some security videos. I'm going to see how you guys react to those. And as I'm preparing for my CISSP, I'm going to need a place to like dump this stuff. And if I say something, I'm more apt to remember it or be able to put it into context and talk fluently about it. So you will start seeing some stuff on the CISSP. But as far as work, I like to keep that completely separate. But if you've got specific questions about how I operate things, feel free to reach out to me. But some of it, I just like to keep that stuff different. I like to keep that separate. So let's see here. David says, I'm not sure if this is in your wheelhouse, but movies on best practices for setting up group policy objects would be cool. GPO. That is my wheelhouse. You will hear some people tell you that you can't be good at a lot of things, and that's horseshit. You can be really good at a lot of things. And Active Directory is one thing that I'm good at. I'm not like, so there are guys that's all they do, and they're going to blow me out of the water. But that's because that's all they do. But I am good at Active Directory, and I'm good at group policy objects, GPOs. So you can be really good at several things. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't be good at several things. You can be good at several things, but you're probably going to really shine through on one of those things, and that will make you the master at one of those things, and you can be good at other things. You can absolutely be good at several things. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't be good at several things. That's bullshit. Good day, yes. Hey, Willie, any thoughts? This is from Vincent Legrand. Hey, Willie, any thoughts on the MR2200 AC from Synology? Yes, Vincent, I have two thoughts. One, I'm really super duper excited about that router. Number two, I'm really super duper excited about that router because they're sending me two of them to do videos for you guys. They're having a stock problem with that right now. It is selling really, really well. The price is right. It can be configured as pass-through. It has all the great features, and it's specifically, it's them stepping more into this business world with their router. So it's going to be absolutely awesome. Earth Dragon says, what's your internet speed? Your download speed is only 2 megabits. Why is your internet so slow? I don't know. There's a lot into that, but I'm fortunate enough to have gigabit internet here, up and down. Randy Beasley says gaming network card equals $100 HDMI cable. Randy hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. Let's see here. In Croatia, MikroTik is very popular as well as Ubiquiti, and lots of colleagues are using this combination. How about point-to-point between MikroTik radio and Ubiquiti radio, as some customers already have Ubiquiti or MikroTik devices? Okay, great question, great point. Let's talk about that. So right now, if you're running a Ubiquiti AC wireless point-to-point, you can't necessarily, in fact, I don't think you can run it with MikroTik at all. It's going to have to be Ubiquiti to Ubiquiti. Now, if you're back in the non-AC stuff where you can turn off AirMax, so AirMax is a proprietary protocol to Ubiquiti. So if your devices have AirMax turned on, a third party is not going to be able to connect to that. If you're just running plain 5 gigahertz, no AirMax, you can connect to that. It's my understanding, and I haven't tried it because all of my Ubiquiti AC stuff it's all Ubiquiti, no third party. I have not tried to turn off AirMax, and I don't think you can with the newer stuff. If somebody knows, put that in the comments. But anything where you're not running proprietary protocols should work together. So that's probably why you see that. And hold on just a second. My wife is calling. Hold on just a second. Hello. Yeah, let me. They do. They had them when they was out there last time. I did see them in the cooler. All right, love you. Bye. All right, so let's see. But it's a gaming network card. That's hilarious. Yeah, I have really good times, really low latency here. Are you considering doing some reviews videos on increasing the number of network devices like lights, light switches? Yes, I am. Specifically, and if you're referring to IoT, I always talk about the IoT networks, but I am going to create some content specifically for that. Now, man, I wish I could show you this, but I'm not. I don't want to give too much away, but yes, there's going to be plenty of IoT videos coming. Yeah. So yeah, Earth Dragon, you have a great night too. That's hilarious. So could you guys hear my wife? Is that how sensitive this awesome mic, this Blue Yeti is that you could hear my wife asking if Dollar General sells eggs? And yes, in fact, Dollar General does sell eggs. So yeah, low latency gaming, Nick. What a load of crap. Yeah, it's just like people telling you that you had to buy the monster cables, the gold plated HDMI cables, and people fell for it for a while. So yeah, so that is fantastic. So we're coming up on 2 hours here, and we've got 101 people connecting, 67 thumbs up. Let's see if we can get those 33 heads up or thumbs up. And I'll call Luke. We'll put him on speakerphone. We'll let him know that he's on the live stream, and we'll see if he can get us some liquid nitrogen to free some Ethernet cables. So get those thumbs ups, and we'll call Luke. We're getting close. Thumbs ups. I want to call Luke. Yeah. So my wife called just to see if they had eggs, but that's awesome that this thing is that sensitive. What else do we want to talk about? So we're talking about MikroTik, and we're talking about the things that we're going to be doing with MikroTik. And I think I've showed you this router, this MikroTik router previously, but I'm going to be doing a full video on this. Randy, we are looking to hold on a second. So Jonathan Kyle Brooks says it only works when you get a gaming chair too. You know, maybe one of these days I'll have enough. That is freaking hilarious. I love that. Yeah, the gaming Nick only works when you have a gaming chair too. Bravo. Why are we looking to freeze a cable? We are looking to freeze a cable to see if it makes our data transfer speeds any faster. All right, so this is the MikroTik router board Hex S. And man, doesn't this thing look badass? It's got an SFP cage, PoE in and out. And on this side, we have USB, we have a mode, a reset, and we have a micro SD card. So I'm going to do a full video on this, setting this up for the lab. But I really, really like the new MikroTik hardware. If you haven't seen the new MikroTik hardware, they are doing some awesome stuff. Like they've got a router that is, it's all metal. The housing is all metal because it's fanless and it's going to get super hot. But it's got either 8 or 10 gigabit ports. It's the one that we're going to be replacing the Edge Router Pros with. And it's got a 10 gig SFP plus cage on it. And then the other ports are copper gigabit ports. But the thing is built like, let me see if I can find the model for you real quick. The damn thing is built like a big heat sink. So if we go on over to microtik.com and we go over to hardware, I believe it is the RB4011. Yes. The RB4011 GS plus RM, 10 gigabit ports. It's got a quad-core 1.4 gigahertz CPU, 1 gig of RAM. It's got an SFP plus, so it's got the 10 gig cage. It comes in a desktop cage, but it also comes with rack ears. This thing is badass, and the whole thing is a big heat sink. And the MSRP on that is $199. But it is going to be fantastic. And hey, Bill, yeah, I have, where'd it go? It's right here. Here's my Netgate appliance. This is my Netgate appliance. So look for the PF Sense videos to start rolling here in the next week or two. I've got a bunch of stuff planned, and I'm just working out the details. So that is coming. That is coming. All right. So let's see here. Randy says, I would like to know more about the fiber stuff from Unify. So would I. And I've talked to them, and I've asked them to send me the fiber gear so I could do videos on it. And they have not obliged as of yet. So I don't know. I don't have any of it in the lab. I've never touched it. I've had a couple inquiries come through my website about deploying it. And unfortunately, I've had to pass that on to other consultants because I just don't have the experience. And it would be unfair of me to learn on that customer's dime. So... no, I did not hear about the new 4011 yet. But hey, Ben, glad you're here. Yeah, and I've run PF Sense for years. The menuing system is what really drives me crazy, which is why I run OpenSense as well. But I'm going to see if I can actually, when I'm done, install OpenSense on that thing. So, yeah, and when I'm talking about freezing a cable, I am talking about just freezing an Ethernet cable, right? So, and it'll be a custom length, right? It's not going to be. I'll probably make it. So I don't know, and I don't think there's going to be a data sheet that tells us that. Hey, Philip. Hey, Robert from Poland. You can do the video while casting. Close the chat. Let's see here. What about making it a video where you can configure light beam AC VLANs for multi-services like voice over IP and internet or cable services through? Yeah, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. Are you all interested in IPTV? I don't know if you are or not. So, Philip, I do have a website. Philip, if you look in the description of this video, you will see all of my links, which we are updating. We are updating logos. I'm renaming my LLC. You will still see the familiar H, but renaming some things. Just a new look. Same great support, same great videos. Just have to make some legal and logistical changes. So yeah, check out my website down there. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know if OpenSense has an ARM port. That's a good point. Robert, your comment got held up, but Poland is my friend. Yes, Poland. Jerry Fowler. Hey, from Milan, Illinois. Jerry, I don't know how old you are, but my aunt and uncle live in Milan, Illinois. My uncle is really involved with the Lions Club up there. So, Jerry Fowler, if you know somebody from Milan and then right across the border into Iowa with the last name of Howe, excuse me, there's a good chance I could be related to them. All right. So, hi, Milan, Illinois. I love it up in that area. And you get up there. Life in Milan, Illinois and the surrounding areas, Rock Island, is different than life in Peoria because they have the Rock Island Arsenal up there. So, like the first time I ever went to a concert up there at that time, it was the iWireless Center, and now it's called the Tax Slayer Center. When I got frisked, it like blew my mind. But like in a town like Rock Island and Milan and Moline, when they are on high alert, it's a different kind of high alert than Peoria, Illinois, because I mean there's a huge federal installation there. So, yeah, please come to Iran one day. We've talked about traveling the world, and you never know what's going to happen. So you never know what's going to happen. And I have my passport now, right? So you never know. All right, so we're at the 2-hour mark. There's still 98 of you hanging in there, 80 thumbs ups. We didn't hit that 100 thumbs ups that we needed for me to call Luke. So at some point, I am going to do that. But I want to tell each and every one of you that I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. I really do. If you need IT consulting, the link is down there in the comment section. If you want to join my Patreon, I am working on getting some. So patrons will, when I can do it, patrons get the access to the videos first. There's a $20 level where I am developing content for the $20 level only. So you can look at that. All my other links, Amazon shop, where you can get this WP820. That is all down there. You can buy the tools and everything else you see here. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I do appreciate each and every one of you. I do not talk about politics on this channel or religion. But I do want to thank each and every one of you for being here. And as always, I will see you in the next video, which should be tonight, about templates on the Grandstream. Thanks again, everybody. Have a fantastic day.